Okay, in this video we will learn the following things. Why do we need CSS? How to link a CSS file to HTML file. We'll learn about CSS selectors and IDs and classes in HTML. So let's get started. Now, why do we need CSS? If you see this page, it looks really bad. It's just plain HTML without any CSS. So using CSS, we can add style to these elements so that they appear beautiful and easier to read and just good to look at. To start with CSS, we need to create a new file. Let's call it style.css because that is the norm. Now the file is created, we have to connect it to our HTML file. To do that, we will create a new tag in the head section. Just type link and press enter, and VS Code will fill it for us. It has two attributes, href and rel, and it shows style sheet here. CSS is short for cascading style sheets, so this attribute shows that the type of file we're linking is a style sheet. In href, we will write the name of the file. So here we will write style.css and hit save. It should be working now. Now to see it, we will create some paragraphs. This is first paragraph. Let's hit save. Now if we go live and see, it's just the same. There are no styles applied. Why? Well, because we didn't write anything here. So how do we select HTML elements? To do that, we have to write the name of the tag, and here it was P. So we just write this, and then we write a couple of curly braces, and we start writing CSS properties. We will learn the properties later. So right now, just follow along. I wrote color red and hit save. So now if I go back, I can see the color is red, and that means CSS file is connected and working. Now let's add some more paragraphs. Let's call it this is a blue paragraph. This is a red paragraph. This is a green paragraph, yellow, pink, and that should be enough. Now if I hit Control S and go back to my page, all the paragraphs are red. Now why is that? Well, because in CSS we selected all the paragraphs. So the CSS does not know which one to select, so it selects each one of them. Now to solve this problem, we have a thing called ID and class in HTML. IDs and classes, they are attributes for HTML tags to identify them. IDs are supposed to be unique. That means only one element can have an ID with a specific name. And classes, they are not supposed to be unique. There can be multiple tags with the same class name. So CSS uses IDs and classes to select elements and apply styles to them. So let's go back to HTML and let's add a class here and just press enter. VS Code will do its thing. Now this let's add a class name here. Let's call it first and hit Control S. Let's go back to our CSS file. Now we have to write the class name that we just created, and once again curly braces, and hit Control S and go back to our browser. But there are no changes. Why? Well, because our CSS file does not know what first is, and there is no tag name first. So for that we have a thing called CSS selectors, and to learn in details about CSS selectors, you can go to this website, and you can find every doc related to CSS here. For now we will go to selectors. And here you can see there are many selectors. First, we will see the ID selectors. To select an ID, we have to write hash and then the name of the ID that we just created. And for class selectors, we have to write a dot and then the class name. And we have already seen type selectors. We just have to write the name of the HTML element, and it's that easy. So let's go back to our file here, and it was a class, so we have to add a dot and hit Control S. You can see it is blue now. Now, what if I want more classes, more paragraphs to have blue color? I can just copy this and paste it and paste it. Hit Control S. Go back to the browser. You can see there are 3 paragraphs that are blue. Uh, don't look at the text, just look at the color. Now, what about ID? Let's say I wrote ID here and yellow, and we go back to CSS and create a new selector called yellow. Notice I used hash here because we are selecting an ID. Hit Control S, go back, and you can see that we have a yellow paragraph. Now, what if I try to copy this and paste it here? Let's hit Control S uh, and go back. It is also yellow. So why does it work? It works because HTML does not throw errors like this, but it is not according to HTML standards to write same ID name for 2 elements. You can do that for classes, but for IDs, we do not do that. One more reason is because when we use JavaScript to select an element, it will only give the first element, and it can cause problems. The code will not work according to the way we want it. So just avoid it, and yeah, it's a good practice to do that.